2024 ended in a very common way here in the Netherlands. We celebrated New Year's Eve with family, eating maybe a bit too many oliebollen. Oliebollen is a Dutch pastry that is only available during the last weeks of the year. We had some fruit bowl and watched the fireworks that last for hours. More than usual, I realized how grateful I am that this New Year's Eve felt so common and familiar, as some of my friends had a rough last month of the year. There were accidents and people losing family members, and this made me appreciate this regular change of the year even more. As a child, time seemed to move so much slower, and there were many years where the holidays felt exactly the same to me. I remember that as a child I had the feeling that everything would be the same forever. Sometimes this made me feel like my life was boring, but most of the years I liked it. Routines and traditions came with a feeling of safety. You know what to expect and you know what to look forward to. Now, as an adult, time seems to have changed the pace of life. It moves so much faster, and I can hardly believe that I'm in my mid-30s already. In this first week of the year, something happened that made me realize that I have a weird relationship with a thing called change. On the one hand, I crave it and I love it. I think I'm more afraid of standing still and not developing, especially when I think of my art career. There is this fear of failure, the fear of not being able to reach my goals, the change that I'm longing for so much. On the other hand, I can be really scared of change, scared of the unknown, feeling unsure whether I can deal with it or whether it will be what I expect it to be. I'm not super easy in adapting and getting used to something new, and yet I find myself wanting it so badly sometimes. A good example is moving. Since I live here in the Netherlands, I have moved 3 times and I loved it. I'm sure this sounds weird to some people because I know some find this absolutely horrific. But I love the process of moving from one house into another. The whole process of looking for a house and imagining yourself living in these different places is so exciting to me. Then comes the process of decluttering and rethinking your possessions. Moving only the things you love and that you are attached to into the new place, starting fresh, a blank canvas that will carefully be filled with only the things that are meaningful to you. But then that same thing called change causes these complete opposite feelings inside of me as well. Anxiety, feeling scared of having to start all over again, having to get used to the new surrounding, new neighbors, a new city. Everything that felt good and familiar in the old place will have to disappear to make room for the new. So I guess I realize once more that there is this contrast in life, this duality of experiences and feelings, and that both things can exist at the same time and that it's okay. It's how this world we live in works. It's often confusing, but then suddenly I can see it clearly again. And now, even though I'm not moving places every year, in December and January I love to declutter my home, rearrange things, and start organized and fresh into the new year. One day this week, I opened my mail account and saw the newsletter of Create magazine. I looked it up and I'm actually subscribed to the newsletter for 6 years now already. And all these years I thought to myself, one day I will send in my work for one of their open calls for artists. But in these 6 years, I always felt like my work wasn't far enough developed or I did not feel ready to send it in. Until this week, when I read their newsletter casually and I saw their open call once again, I closed the email thinking to myself, you know what, this time I will apply and I'll send them my work. I mean, Danielle Crissa is also in the jury and I love her books and podcast. This would be awesome. And as soon as that thought crossed my mind and I closed the email and my laptop, my body started to feel different. I felt cold sweat tingling on my arms. I could suddenly feel my heartbeat in my throat, pressure on my chest, taking weirdly deep breaths because I suddenly felt like I'm lacking oxygen. As this isn't the first time this happens to me, I realized rather quickly that I'm having a panic attack. And again, it is due to my friend called change. So, one half of me is excited that I finally feel ready to send in my work, excited about the idea that Danielle Crissa could possibly see my work, and that if I would be selected, it could mean a really positive change in my career as a painter, selling more artwork more easily, finally being seen, everything I long for. And at the same time, it scares me so much that I can physically feel my anxiety. Anyway, I promised myself not to let myself being stopped by those feelings of fear and anxiety anymore. I can't really fail at this point in the story to put together this frame, can I? I mean, this would not look good at all. Creating a video about overcoming the fear of failure, pushing through anxiety, only to immediately fail at the start of this new project. Well, I did fail, big time, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Sometimes we can't do everything ourselves and should ask for help. So that's what I did. The weather has been mainly grey, cold and rainy here in the Netherlands, as expected. But one morning, after weeks of living under the grey blanket, we had a beautiful single day of sunshine. I immediately went outside with our dog Baco to enjoy feeling some sun on our skin. Then the other morning, temperatures dropped below zero and we had beautiful snow. The kids played for hours outside and made the biggest snowman I've ever seen. However, the temperature outside went from -1 in the morning to +11 in the evening, and Mr. Snowman did not survive the night. So, fear of failure and fear of change can feel paralyzing. It can even cause anxiety and panic attacks, but it's also often a sign that we're stepping out of our comfort zone and moving towards growth. Every step forward, even a small one, is proof of our courage. And sometimes we do fail. At least that's how we feel about it. Most often, however, it is an opportunity to learn or to simply ask for help and connect. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you next week.